I think I also wanted to focus on the state budget. I think it's important to realize that when I became governor 7 years ago, the budget was $5.3 billion. When we finish, this budget will be around $5.4 billion 7 years later. Now, we're 1,000 fewer state employees. The workforce has been reduced by 8.8%. We're now also, we didn't skimp when it came to providing for general purpose aid to education. We're now providing $352 million more to aid to education with 20,000 fewer students. We've been actually able to increase the per capita student cost reimbursement from $3,500 per student to $5,000 per student. And we've been able to sustain that without raising any of the broad-based taxes in this state. One of the things that I recognized when I became governor was we had one of the highest tax states in the country, and it became part of my campaign to make sure that we didn't raise taxes in order to balance the budget. And we've been able to hold true to that. So we've come down from number 1 in the country, or number 2, down to number 11th or 12th in the country. And if we finish this budget, as I'm committed to, without raising taxes, we'll be more towards the middle of the pack, which is where we want our state. We want our state not to have the yoke around our necks that holds us back from economic opportunity. And as I pointed out before, I think that the important thing that you can realize is that we've been able to combine state agencies. We've been able to consolidate the Board of Corrections and regional school units, saving millions of dollars in property taxes. And it's hard to change, but we must. And I hear communities crying and that they need additional resources. They want us to raise taxes, and I point out to them 2 things that have occurred. Their county tax bill, now a portion of it has been absorbed by the state budget because we are now running the Board of Corrections, the administrative wing of all of the county jails. Communities don't have that cost as they used to, and that was half of the county tax bill, which was paid in property taxes, is now being paid through state taxes. And through that administrative reforms we've consolidated, we've been able to save and been more efficient and keep the increases much less. They're projecting that over 5 years it will have saved property taxpayers about $185 million. The schools have also received, as I said, $352 million more in general purpose aid to education with fewer students. That's a very large segment of communities' tax bills. So I think it's unreasonable for communities to say that they should not look at consolidating their municipal operations and creating a municipal service district or merging with the school administrative portion, because we have got to be able to find those efficiencies and not just raise taxes. And the only way that they're going to look at it is being forced to look at it. I know they don't appreciate the revenue sharing cuts. I know they don't appreciate the changes that are in the state budget. But these are difficult times, and we've got to make sure we're doing all we can do to save the taxpayers any additional burden. My goal is not just to say no to taxes, but to say yes to opportunities, because it's going to be in those states where they don't tax labor, where they don't tax investment, which will be rewarded. And today and into the future, the young people who are here, they're very mobile. Their capital is going to be very mobile, and it's going to go where it's going to be rewarded. And I want the state of Maine to be more open to that investment, more open to that kind of opportunity. You know, when I started running for office, one of the things I heard from Maine people was that we're seeing our sons and daughters leave the state. I think one thing we can do in this generation is provide the foundation so they can go anywhere they want to in the world, and they probably will, but they always know that they have a place back here at home, and they can set up shop, they can do their business here and around the world, and they can be rewarded for that work. And that's the kind of reputation you want in this state, because at the heart of it is our people. Our people are the best people. We have wonderful natural resources. People visit from all around the world to come here, but the reality is it's the people that do make the difference. And we have people here, if we give them a level playing field, I have seen it time and again. That's what the Pine Tree Economic Development Zones were all about. When we developed that initiative, it was off Governor Ridge's Keystone Zones. It was about almost being very aggressive, overly aggressive about economic development in regions of Maine which saw declining industries. So we'd have an opportunity to jumpstart that area. Now, they tell me in the figures they put forward, because we just expanded that statewide. It wasn't a statewide initiative because we were kind of focused in the rural parts of Maine and the natural resource areas of Maine where a lot of manufacturing and paper jobs were lost. We wanted to put in this foundation of huge tax incentives and opportunities for future growth in those regions. But because of the interest in the demand in southern Maine, in York and Cumberland County in particular, we expanded it statewide. And the figures for just 1 year alone, even though we're in the depths of this recession, Maine received 65 applications for the program, more than any other year since it was introduced, and despite the recession. Of those, 27 came from York and Cumberland counties, and of those 27, they represent 478 new jobs for 2009. Since 2004, when we started the program, they were anticipated to create 8,000 jobs and over $600 million of investment. That was for giving tax revenue to bring in jobs that are good-paying jobs, not just any jobs, with benefits, so that Maine would be a winner in the situation. Because as I was told by other governors before me, the best social service program is a good-paying job and benefits, and the best social service department is not the Department of Human Services, but the family. And the more that our policies can strengthen those, the better and stronger we will be as a state, and our state will be able to compete nationally and internationally. So that's what I'm excited about, and that's the overall plan. I did want to point out that we have a tax measure that's on the ballot in June. And that question is going to be trying to repeal the income tax cut. Last spring, we passed legislation that cuts income taxes in Maine. The Wall Street Journal editorial page called it the Maine miracle. We lowered the rate from 8.5%, one of the highest in the country, to 6.5% for those people making $250,000 or less. Now, we did it by closing loopholes in the sales tax and by increasing the tax on meals and lodging to spread the burden onto visitors who come to Maine but don't pay taxes here. Maine Revenue Service estimates 85% of Maine families will benefit. More of our tax burden will be exported to tourists. This is a middle-class tax break that does reward work. Working families and small businesses deserve a tax break, and Maine needs jobs now. The last few years have been difficult, but each step along the way, the people of Maine have come together and put their differences aside and made tough decisions. As we work on this budget and the important questions that face our state, I'm more convinced than ever that we can chart the right course. This isn't an easy time, but I know that together we can weather this storm, and we will come out of this, and we will be stronger.